And with that, in a 3 and a 2.
RuPaul Drag Race.
Hey, kitty girls, it's Sunday, April 11th, 2021, and welcome to Cubs Out Loud Drag Race, Season 13, Episode number 14, Getting Lucky. I don't really feel lucky. Sorry, I'm just going to break the pattern of the mold for a moment. You're muted.
Here we go.
No,
I
I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't really feel lucky in this here moment. So I'm just gonna, yeah, I don't know. Because I guess we gambled, we played the game, we didn't win the way we wanted to. So there's that. There's some future forecasting for our opinion about this episode potentially. For those of you, for some reason, that are just joining us, hi, welcome to our show. For those of you that don't know who we are, my name is Gary, and with me is my ever fabulous co-host.
Hello, everyone. It's Damon. Welcome.
So we made it to the last lap, girl. Like it's, right before the finale. We've got a reunited next week and the finale in 2 weeks. No more delays. Because I thought maybe, just maybe, they would hold it out into May, but they did not.
No.
So, Getting Lucky is the name of this episode because it is the new RuPaul single. That is the music video that the girls have to do choreo to and put their own music in, all that kind of jazz. So let's
traditional challenge.
Talk about that, shall we?
Racers, start your engines, and may the best drag queen win.
Right. So overall thoughts on the episode, put the pedal to the metal, Hunt T. So it's the interview / top 4 Ru music video episode. It is tradition.
Yes.
I will say the one thing that they brought back and made fun of that I actually thought was cute and funny was the 13-year-old Tic Tacs. And this time they were in a gold catering chafing dish off to the side on a separate table, like in their own light. I was like, really, girl? Like,
gave them their own spotlight and everything. Damn.
They're more important than everybody else, it seems. So. Or they were worried that the Tic Tacs might, have the COVID, and that's why they got to be so far away. I don't know. That being said, David, what were your thoughts on this particular episode?
So I put down running low on steam. And this is going to be a bit of a read. I'll go ahead and say that now. I know this is a very traditional, thing we do. Like, top 4, music video, choreo, write your lyric, perform, show yourself, yada, 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 yada. It felt bleh. It felt very like, well, let's just do it because we got to do it. Like, all right. Like, I know it sounds bad, and I understand that there were reasons behind it. COVID is a big thing. That pandemic is a big thing. You can only do so much. You can only have so many. It wasn't big and elaborate because they couldn't have a whole lot of people. So Jamal Sims was the choreographer, which is fair. He's been a judge. He's been in the bubble, as it were. That makes sense. You couldn't bring anyone new in because there's not really any way to do that without COVID and bubble shit.
I thought that Jamal being the choreo was perfectly fine because, as it's talked about in this episode, he already knows their skill level and how they've performed through the season and what it was like to instruct them before.
Mm-hmm.
What I found interesting was that he changed tactics this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was very much a I got it and I understood it and I knew why, COVID notwithstanding. I agree with you. Like it was a good idea because unlike choreographers they brought in, excuse me, brought in like in the finale, the whole Todrick Hall like will come in like right at the end and do like the big elaborate number bullshit thing. Instead, they brought in someone who has been there,
Mm-hmm.
who knows their level and knows how to make them shine,
Mm.
for lack of a better phrase. But yeah, yeah. But again, I just overall kind of felt like, oh, okay, like here we go, like this is what we're doing. Okay, that's fine. That's right. That's good. Okay, turn the page. Mm. Yeah,
Okay.
Gary.
I said traditional yet meh. And the reason I say that is because it was traditional in the formula,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't wowed. In fact, I completely disagree with Trixie and Jinx in the
Mm-hmm.
pit stop episode where they were like, I like the song, it's fun, it's like kind of pop, it's a little bit of a bop, blah, 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 it's catchy. And I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not, girl. No, it is not. Like, I don't see it becoming a hit for the summer.
Mm.
I also was really annoyed with the fact, and I understand that COVID's a thing, but I was really annoyed with the fact that Rue literally was a talking head. Like, all of her in the song is just like her in a workroom at the beginning of each episode.
And that's another thing. Like, like, couldn't we have done something different? Could we have put her in an outfit? Could we have given her a wig? Could we have done something to like make her look a little better than what she normally almost always looks every single fucking episode? Like, could we have done something else? This is your music video for your song, mama. Like, like I get it. I get it. COVID reality. I understand it. True, yeah. But this feels like uh Miss Rue, we're almost done with your recording your little well, we don't call it email anymore, but
Oh,
your
this?
little
She already done had
yeah,
hers.
Yeah.
your little bumps.
Yeah.
So what else do we want to do? I want to do the song Lucky. I want to do my things for Lucky. Well, I mean that's at the end of the season. No, I want to do it right now.
Right,
But
because
don't you want to like dress like? Don't you want to look good? Don't you want to do something else with your? No, we're doing it now. And action like that's
and or in addition to that, I would if that was if someone was like, do you want to change the way? She'd be like, don't I look good now? Ain't nobody gonna say no.
no.
They want a paycheck. So
I just it.
yeah. So personally, I was annoyed that she was just a talking head on a TV, like literally on an old fashioned boob tube, like
Mm-hmm.
television, yada yada. And I get that Jinx and Trixie were saying, it's kind of a throwback to the B-52s, like kind of vibe or whatever. And yes, technically Rue is friends, maybe still not today, I don't know, with, Fred Schneider and them from B-52s and knew them back in Atlanta in the day. So I get all that. But I still was like, okay. And then the four of them were in four different boxes for
Yeah.
the longest time. And I was like, this isn't very exciting. And then when they got together it got worse. And girl, it's true. Like the choreo is not that good when they were together. That's another thing that confused me. Okay. So Jamal, no. I want to get this off my chest. So Jamal does this individual work with them, right? And does all this stuff, yada yada. And Rosé's got to use a chair and blah, 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 or whatever. Not Rosé.
Simone had to use a chair.
Simone had to use a chair, right? All this shit. Then we watched the music video, and I was like, Simone's using like a chaise lounge, not a chair. Like it just like the choreo that we saw in the rehearsal was not the choreo in the music video. And while that's fine, that yes, technically what is practiced in front of the cameras is not necessarily going to be the final result. I can understand that it happens every season. You know, we get the dramatic rehearsal first run or whatever, and then of course they fine tune it. But I was like, okay. And there was this weird I laughed so hard on Twitter. I don't think I shared it with you, David. So someone took a picture of the four queens, nuts to butts, like, you know, in that position side by side, right? In front of the word lucky. Someone posted on Twitter and said human centipede 2021. And I was like, damn! It's like
that's here. Here's my wig.
That's
like,
so mean. That's so mean. But
that's so mean.
it wasn't accurate, but it was funny as an interpretation. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It
So it underwhelmed me as far as a final number. I will say this. The backup dancers were not the pit crew. And I appreciated that because they actually had rhythm and body expression and some artistry. Girl, I'm not being shady. I like the pit crew, but the pit crew they're not choreographed professional dancers.
I mean, fair.
So, like, while people love a redhead, and Bryce can be cute at times, he also comes across like he's dumb as a box of rocks. And I'm being nice because I think he's a really nice person. I'm not judging his character. I just think the way he's portrayed on the show and the way things happen, he seems to kind of be like treated in a certain role, which I don't think is very fair. In fact, all of the pit crew is kind of treated just like they're meat only. And I'm like, that's not, they're human beings. Come on, they got some skills.
It's kind of true. And
so, but yeah, so the background dancers I thought was interesting because they had these head wrap things with the net across the face, and like so it was like net from like the eyes up. It kind of looked like they were wearing like fencing, like headgear or something, but it was not exactly that. And it was, I mean, and they were you know, so they looked kind of artistic, and it was fun to see them in the background. But I was like, okay,
yep.
And then, am I going to talk about this later? No, I'll talk about it now. So. Gottmik is in blue. Rosé is in pink. And Simone is in orange. What color is Candy Muse?
Yellow.
You sure?
I mean, no, but I'm 85% sure it was supposed to be yellow.
Oh, nice save. Good one. Right, because for some reason, her color block in the video kept changing. She was yellow one moment, then she was kind of sherbety orange. Like, it kept changing. It was so weird. Nobody else has changed in the video edit. Hers was the only one. And I was like, what the fuck is that shit? Like,
okay, let me look it up.
And
I was just looking at it earlier.
I thought her outfit was ill-fitting. Like that girl, hog casing. Like, you want to talk about Victoria's Secret trying to fit it on a fat body? Just watch the video. Just look at the material, to borrow a Trixie phrase. Like, come on. It was bad. Candy did not look good. Her hair didn't look good. The outfit didn't fit her. I was annoyed with the fact that she went with her natural titties. Because as a big boy who's got breasts myself, I was like, really? You didn't do anything for that at all? Anyways.
I wish she had, given what they were wearing, given what they were doing, kind of like this '60s lingerie pajama party was kind of what I was getting with this.
Okay.
Um, I would have liked a more hourglassy look, something a little bit more than, like you said,
More
because
like Gottmik and Rose.
yeah, and even Simone. I mean, well, Simone doesn't really have to do anything to her waist because she's like this big, but
Right,
like
but notably Gottmik and Rose were corseted.
yes,
Like
yeah,
Gottmik was corseted like a wasp waist
yes,
in blue, and Rose was corseted, but not as extreme,
mm-hmm.
which is a little
Let me
weird to me
see.
because her corset didn't look as good as Gottmik's, and I couldn't tell if it
Yeah,
was because it was matte. Like
mm.
I just couldn't. There was something about it I just couldn't put my finger
Okay.
on. I don't know. Anyways,
Really, I'm gonna try to just speed
so
through this.
with Candy though, like when you didn't use filter and gel and like color block the video section of her area, it was like a brighty, like canary, Tweety bird, fluorescent kind of yellow, I think
Yeah.
is what it was supposed to be.
So before they like, I'm literally looking at right before they transition into the other look. So right before this, I'm looking at the video, y'all. So right now, as I'm looking at this, all of a sudden, like, Got Mick looks purple, and I'm like, okay, but that kind of is close to blue. That makes sense.
Mm.
So I'm waiting for them to transition over to her, and then so the yellow lights come on. God, that's awful. That look does not look good on you. I'm sorry, y'all. Ooh. And the worst part is she's got these white tights on that don't match the yellow tights on her arm. I don't know if that's your outfit or that was the one that was given to you.
Mm.
Uh, but like we need like everything matched because everybody else is a color block,
Mm-hmm.
and your tights look white. Okay, yellow, yellow, yellow. Okay, it doesn't change. Where's the change? There was supposed to be a change.
It'll come around. I don't know if it's her section. I think they come back to her room or to
Yeah,
her spot.
it's when they're doing when Bru's talking on the phone. Ah, I know what it is. So what they're doing, and they shouldn't have done it. Okay. So hi everybody. Welcome to Art 101. Okay. So do you know what yellow's complementary color is on the color wheel?
Purple?
Yeah, that is correct. And as they are moving, like, so when I was talking about the purple lights in Got Mix, what I'm seeing is they threw this purple across it. And what that does is it essentially cancels a lot of shit out. Because they work in tandem, you know. And she goes from yellow, like you said, to orange because the purple is now going with her, or purple blue. It's probably a blue.
Mm.
Well, no, it's not a blue
Because
because
then it
that
turned
doesn't
green.
work. Yeah,
It was weird
but
to me because it seemed like the other three had colored outfits, and for about half the video, I swore that Candy's was white
yeah,
or like the green screen. I couldn't tell what the story
mm,
was as to why her outfit, like everything about her changed color, and I was like, "What is going on? Like that just
mhm,
doesn't look good."
yeah. Like when like and unfortunately she's a darker a darker skin like and that doesn't work either because the purple kind of goes with her on our skin and it just doesn't work either. Oh, oh, okay. There's the yellow. Okay, yellow and purple and blue. Ugh. There's the pink. There we go. Okay. Anyway, so it.
Right.
Sorry to keep rambling on this, but like they.
I will say this: if I were Candy, I'd be pissed because I think they did her dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think production did her no favors.
Yeah, it's an odd color for her to be wearing. It doesn't look good on her.
Mm.
Like let me just call it like it is. Yellow is a hard color to like work with skin. The orange on Simone, as an example, the
Mm-hmm.
reason it kind of works well against her skin is because it's brighter and looks good. The yellow on candy is not as bright. It doesn't look as bright. And I don't know again if this is lighting or
Right.
whatever. Something is going on and it doesn't look like the same material. It doesn't look like it's something different about this yellow
Right.
that doesn't work. And again, I hate hate that they gave her these white if they gave this to her,
Right.
they should not have given her white tights. The little white knee-high like lacy tights. They should have been yellow like her gloves and it all the same color, kind of like I think everyone else is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know what they did as far as production goes versus what the girls had to work with or what they had to bring. I kind of feel like they were told in their list of things in looks to bring a lingerie look
Mm.
because Gottmik's and Rosé's and even Simone's fit them really well.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me think they brought that like for their body proportion stuff, and I feel like Candy like just went with whatever she could grab or get a hold of,
Yeah.
hoping,
Yeah.
thinking that this would not be, you know,
Mm.
something that needs to be the way it is or whatever. But more on that
A
later,
little later. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure. You ready to move on to the next
Yes, let's.
segment?
Cover girl, put the bass in your walk. Cover girl.
All right, stop the runway, honey. Category or theme of this week is drag excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, please remember that. Just saying. Damon, what are your thoughts on the episode?
Damn. I put down someone came to slay.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yes. And that person was Miss Simone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, y'all don't understand. So for those insight behind the curtain as it were. So Jim and I usually watch the episode. We sometimes on Fridays we game and then we come home after grabbing dinner and then we watch the episode. So I kind of watch it live, but it's usually recorded by this time.
Okay.
We got home a little early, so I was kind of watching it at a delay, not too far, but I was able to pause if I needed to and everything. So that was really helpful. Miss Simone turned that corner and I had to the stop the recording and audibly yes God. Like I had a visceral like reaction to this. This was so fucking beautiful. I was like dumbfounded. It hit me upside the head. It punched me in the gut. It was so beautiful. And I think she came out and I think she was standing there and she had this look that kind of made it look like I think Jinx and Trixie talk about like it looked like a ball gown for a second. No, bitch, no. This was these big ass beautiful like sleeves and this very just like close to the body like perfection. I had I will own I was not expecting it, but there it was. Jim was laughing at me and I was just like, no, this was so gorgeous and so true to her and so like with the blonde braided like cornrows and the jewel like in the middle like just it hit me and I was like I can't like it's so fucking beautiful. I did not have words. Yeah. So, and the best part was she was last, and that yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
like here you go, y'all. Like this is a runway. Like this is a motherfucking runway. This purple, just yeah. So yeah, I had a moment. I had several moments actually.
I imagine so.
Like I was tempted again. Like I was tempted to do a fucking another fucking purple eye because I just was so oh by that. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
Gary.
Well, similar kind of to you, I said patterns versus solid.
Mm.
So here's what I'm focusing on. Gottmik presented a very um, artistic, creative uh, fashion
Mm-hmm.
gown that is white with black polka dots and just a couple of flesh peekaboos.
Mm-hmm.
And she carried it forward onto her makeup, and then she had this huge white bouffant that
Mm-hmm.
was mimicking like kind of a poodle style. Like it
Mm-hmm.
kind of gave you that, and yet you had these big black like polka dots, which kind of make you think of Dalmatian. Like it was definitely not what I was expecting, and
Yeah.
yet at the same time I was like, I get it, girl. Like
Yeah.
that's like I see what you're presenting, and I think it's very well done, and she looked really good, and yeah, I found it really aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Rose came out in the tartan plaid
Yep.
gown.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she looked great in it. Um, her hair, I don't know what the story was. It looked a little flat.
Well, I don't think it was flat. It was too voluminous for what she was going for. It was long
Oh.
and it was kind of big and it went all the way down her butt.
Well, see, all of that I thought looked fine. Like I thought the sides and the back, especially that it went to her ass, was fine. This crown area, like of the
Mm,
bang right above, it just looked smooshed. Like it literally
mm.
looked like if I was a nasty queen and I was backstage, like, and I wanted to mess her shit up in a pageant before she walked out, I would have been like,
That's right.
yeah, I just would have like put flat
Ah.
hand and kind of fucked it and then walked away and watched her like have a complete freak out right as she's about to walk out. That's what it felt like to me. It was just a
Mm,
little weird. I thought, girl, like obviously you looked in a mirror, but for some reason you just weren't seeing that.
yeah.
And it could be, that the stage lights hit hair differently, and that is probably synthetic. And synthetic hair responds differently to light than natural human hair.
True, true, true.
So I don't know if, the difference between the backstage, like the workroom lighting and the backstage lighting versus the actual stage lighting makes things look different. I don't know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought the gown was beautiful. I thought it looked really well. I was a little, uh, per- not perturbed, intrigued because it looked like the fabric was fraying and
Mm-hmm.
it looked like it was getting worse as the episode went on. And I
Yeah.
was like, girl, what's up with that? Like
So
get some
it
nail glue, some hairspray, something.
well,
Like,
that's the thing. Like I think she was trying to go for like a traditional tartan look. So if you look
right,
at like a kilt or what have you, the edges of the kilt, it's usually like one big block of fabric, and they just
true.
kind of wrap it, and the edges are usually frayed a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe that's what she was going for, but um, I don't I don't think you do that on in a fashion runway. Like yes, you're going traditional, but if you're gonna go traditional, but you still have to make it fashion, then you sharpen those edges. Like you fix that hemline. You make that work. Like you can't
Right.
just like so. I'm I loved it. I thought it was pretty. It was probably clunky as AF because it looked like it because she was walking so damn slow. Um,
Yeah, I
But
mean, it was the fact that she had to do a real slow walk. I was like, she can't move.
yeah, she's
I was,
probably yeah.
she's not painted into it, but she is like harnessed to the gods, girl, and she is just like step, step, step. Like, she's just trying to make it down the runway, to move around because notably, with that cinched waist, and I think it had like a kind of a mermaid flare, like it was not gonna move a whole lot or give her like, ain't no big strides in this one, baby.
Mm-mm.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
like both of them had the patterns.
Yeah.
And then Simone comes out in this solid colored gown. She turned the corner and I was like, okay, bitch
Mm-hmm.
just won. Like, bitch won the runway. Like, she has consistently, for the most part, like she just, such a delivery and such a great craftsmanship of a silhouette and a
Yes.
look, because when she keeps her arms close to her, it does look like a huge, like, night at the opera Met Gala, like, ball gown.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then if she extends her arms out, all of a sudden you realize that the dress is mostly made of sleeves, and she is wearing this straight cut, like, dress that, goes to the floor and yet has this gorgeous split right up the center that allows her to
Mm-hmm.
have movement to show off her killer legs, like
Mm-hmm.
her skin tone. I mean, it was just,
Oh.
it was so good. And I had to laugh my ass off in the interview when Michelle ended up asking her, and she was like, girl, she's like, what do you put on that skin? Like, she's like, what do you do to moisturize, like, to make it look like that? And she goes, just baby
Just
oil.
baby oil.
And RuPaul's like, I fucking hate you.
Yes. Cause y'all, okay, so again, Black Skin 101. Like, is she just doing baby oil? Okay.
Well,
She has some beautiful, beautiful fucking skin. Cause I
she
can't.
does, but she's also darker than Rue.
True.
Like,
Yes.
like you could only do so much in your color, like, wheelhouse, as far as, like,
Mhm.
everybody's got a skin tone, and that's it, baby. Like, that's what you got to work with.
Mhm.
And
Like,
Simone is blessed because, pretty much
yeah.
everything looks good against that.
Yes. So like y'all like, hi, this is my face.
Yeah.
This takes work. And I mean, and that's still me. Like, it's not like there ain't no makeup on this face, but there's a reason why. Cause probably if I were to ever do like drag on this podcast, besides this eye, like did a full on face, that's 2+ hours for me.
Yeah.
Because the usual issue I deal with is I have to make sure that the skin is primed and moisturized and whatever before I put that makeup on, or else it's gonna go.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, in terms of like the presentation of the looks, I thought that there were patterns versus solid. And I do not disagree with you that I feel like someone came to slay, and that Simone did, like, just basically mop the floor with the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I was any of the rest of the contestants, I would have been like, oh, fuck me.
When she pulled that shit out, if they're sitting like getting together in the workroom, like getting stuff together, and she pulled that dress out, we were like, let me just pack up my shit and just like, get the fuck out of here, because like that ain't that. There's no beating that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it, and only because
We don't have to talk about it.
No, I will say this.
Okay.
I was okay with Candy's look. And that's all.
No, actually, I should say,
Thank you.
because I do not disagree.
Yeah.
She looked beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love the
I
hair.
think that's all I'm going to say about that.
I love the hair. And it's and again,
Yeah.
I hate like that sounds like a read, but it's not a read. Like I really did love the hair, and I know it's bad because sometimes when you say shit like that, sometimes people think, well, you must have loved the hair, but you hate the look because the first thing you talk about is the fucking hair. And like no, the hair really looked good on her. It worked really well with what she was wearing. What she was wearing again was pretty decent.
But the hair pulled focus like
Yes.
up
Mm-hmm.
and to the
Mm-hmm.
back, and so like compared to what she wore a week ago,
Mm-hmm. Fact.
yes, technically a week ago I called it a first week look, and what she wore this episode was much more like the end of the season look.
Mm-hmm.
So there was definitive growth and
Mm-hmm.
change, and I think the hair was a big piece of that because it had been stacked. It had the ringlets in the back. Like I mean, it really kind of changed her whole facial shape, and
Yeah.
didn't make you focus on the fact that it's shaped like a watermelon. So the sorry baby, like you got a round fat head. Do not wear short little hair. Like it just does not work for you. Um. So that being said, I
Yeah. Yeah. It was okay.
yeah,
Moving on.
thank you.
You bitch.
I feel like I need to apologize for being such a cunt, but I'm sorry. Like I don't have
Oh.
my detox clip. I'm over it officially. Been over it and still over it and still don't feel
Damn.
the need. You are not
Damn.
my play toy. You do not make me
Damn.
laugh.
Damn.
So,
Ooh. Ooh.
bye girl.
Gary with that like like shake. Like right
Do you know
there.
what I just realized I was behaving like how my words were coming across? I just watched a friend of mine play Magic the Gathering on Twitch last night.
Mm-hmm.
Today, one of those two times. Anyways, that was last night. And I've never seen Magic the Gathering played ever. So to see it in a
Mm-hmm.
virtual realm was very interesting because when you take points away from the other opponent, the cards get a wedge arrow on them. I don't know if you've ever seen it, David.
Mm-hmm. I think a little bit, yeah.
And it literally jabs the other player, and it has the sound effect, and it's like cha-chung, cha-chung.
Yeah.
And if you build up enough points, it's like da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like like you just get decimated. I mean,
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
and I'm like, damn. And I just realized perhaps that's how my words were coming across.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't
That's
really
okay.
my intention, but
Well, sometimes words hurt.
Candy don't know who I am, and anyway, she should be
I
paying
mean,
attention to our comments technically. So
yeah.
that being said, it's time for snaps and eye rolls, kittens. The highs, the hits and the misses, the highs and the lows of the episode.
Yeah.
David, who are you giving snaps to?
So I wrote down and I put down the show's thoughtfulness.
Okay.
So I will appreciate that they made certain statements before they moved into like so everyone knows the question that comes that the moment that comes in every
Mm.
like final four or whatever they take the picture of the younger self and you give your you know words of advice to your younger self.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated the show first of all with Got Mick
Mm-hmm.
mentioning that he gave them permission to use the picture. So first of all, that's the big one because
Right.
that's the one. And then they did not dead name.
Correct.
So that was kind of I really did appreciate that. because those are things that often become a problem in the trans community.
Mm-hmm.
Is like people dead naming you, calling you by your original your birth name or whatever you want to call it, and in that moment, that could have been a problem.
Right.
Um, and I know it was scripted. I know RuPaul was reading a script. Like let's or at least looking at a prompter. Cause instead of saying the boys' names for the other contestants, they went through and said your younger self for each one. Like, what advice would you give to your younger self? They
Mm-hmm.
didn't say anyone's birth name or real name. The queens were able to,
Right.
but Rue did not, and I appreciated that. It meant someone was showing respect and being thoughtful and understanding that potentially with a trans person, since this is probably the first, well, the one that we've known is trans, all that, you know what I mean? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, um, they did not um, dead name or use the name. They didn't, and they actually didn't even use the former pronoun either. Like, and they chose words carefully
Mm-hmm.
and said, "What would you say to your younger self?" as opposed to saying, "What would you say to him?"
Right.
So I love that, and I thought that was a really good moment, and I give my snaps to that because yes, this is a long time coming, but it is hopefully the trajectory that we're going in regards to RuPaul's show and trans awareness and trans understanding
Mm-hmm.
of what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, snaps for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Gary.
Um, so I'm giving snaps to two things. The first part I said that look mama. I'm referring to RuPaul's look when she came to the judges.
Mm.
I honestly was really surprised with her look.
Mm.
I thought the hair was so well executed. I mean, to
Yes.
be fair, it was a big ass ball of hair.
Mm-hmm.
But it was perfectly round. It was so well done. Whoever is doing her wigs now, like executed that particular one so well. Raven has been doing really well with the makeup this season for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Still not a fan of that red look with the white, like, anyways, that thing, which then ended up turning around and being the promo look for the Australia season. Anyways, I'm gonna move off of that. But no, she just looked so good, and she was wearing like a cute little dress instead of
Mm-hmm.
a gown. It was off the
Yeah.
shoulder. It was really high. You got to see her legs. I'm like, Mama still got legs. Like,
Yeah.
cannot deny.
No.
Um, so I just thought she looked so beautiful. And
Yes.
this season, like a lot of seasons, is kind of all over the place. It's a bit of a
Yeah.
roller coaster. Some weeks Zaldi delivers a really nice look, and other times I'm like, girl,
What are you doing? Is this
Clary,
like
how high were
Fargo?
you?
Yeah.
Like, what was that about? Now, there has been some discussion, and I haven't seen specifically anyone point out, but word for the past year plus has been that Rue has been wearing old outfits.
Mm.
Like some of her stuff from the closet from way back in the day, especially her original VH1 talk show, has been pulled out and either updated or worn again because she
Mm.
kept it all. So I don't know. We'll I don't know how accurate that is, but that's been the rumor. So, anyways, I really wanted to give snaps because I thought Mama, like for once, not for once, that's not fair to say. I just was really
She
taken
looked
by it. Like
good.
it stood out to me in comparison
Yeah.
to what I recall. And I also want to give snaps to Black Excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Simone so deftly, like almost ninja like this season in infiltrated via the runway like making BLM a front and center discussionary point, and yet like fashion and
Mm-hmm.
like like breathtaking in some ways,
Yeah.
and like really like I feel like she took the torch from Shea Coulee and just kept carrying it forward. um and I was
Yeah.
really struck with that, and it made me think, Damon, like what other queens have done that, and can they do that, and is it possible for other queens to do that? And I'm like, I'm thinking it is, but man, it takes a lot of artistry, a lot of like finesse
Yeah.
to bring a culture to the stage and really present it forward. Like, so as an example, I think Valentina, for the most part, did pretty good in her season with her runway presentations and
Mm-hmm.
bringing some of her culture and
Yeah.
of her own community into it. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I think it's possible for everybody to do that. The problem is most fashion, no offense, is meant for white people. And that's the way I feel about it.
I mean, it's not wrong.
And therefore, it gets to be kind of predictable or repeatable or something, or
Mm-hmm.
just flat out cuckoo crazy for Cocoa Puffs. Like, girl, I see
Mm-hmm.
some shit that gets posted about a runway that somebody did, and I was like, why? Why are we making things that look like they belong in a sci-fi movie, or like in a
Yeah.
fantasy like
Yeah.
cosplay or whatever? It's so strange to me. And they're like, but it's fashion, and I'm like, that's not fashion, honey. I don't know what it is. It's a look, but it's not fashion in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
and I don't know fashion, so I'm
yeah.
just an idiot. But
So yeah. I will put it like I will say, um, is it doable? Yes. Um, Shay, and this, this is my opinion, so I'm
mhm,
going to start prefacing with that. Um, Shay kept the door open.
mhm,
I think the door may have been opened a little bit at a time by queens like Bob, a little bit, Monet, especially.
mhm,
Um, and then Shay kind of opened the door further. And then Simone in this season has taken an active role
mhm,
in her looks to not only present fashion, but also to present, like you mentioned, Black excellence and Black culture. Almost everything that she has done and put on the runway has something to do with who she is and her culture. Like that is, and it's, I will own, I cannot say that for, I won't say that for like Bob or Monet as an example. Shay in most ways did. Like a lot of what she was putting out there did kind of fall in that line.
mhm.
I think this is the first time, and again, don't get me wrong, I could be joking, but this is the first time where it has been active.
Well, I think what Simone did, like in following the steps of those other queens of color, I think Simone elevated, like representing the culture via the fashion in ways that have not been done before, and really had an impact. Like,
Yeah,
consistently, I was like, damn, like
yeah,
this bitch, like
yeah.
she and what I've kind of considered and thought about, and I don't know how fair this is, I think you have a better odds of making it to the end and potentially winning if you come from a group. So let me put
Mm,
it this way. If you have a pod, a chosen family that works with you, and you all cohesively do well as a team, and they rally around you because you get picked to be on the show, and
mm-hmm,
everybody like tries to like elevate you individually and what it is that you do, I think that speaks very highly of what you can execute. If you
mm-hmm,
come in and you are a solo person and it's all you, baby, I hate to say it, but I think that's the distinct difference between like how much you can bring and how far you will get. And that's
Mm.
really not fair, because I feel like I'm paralleling this thing that we've talked about in the past, that you have to spend a fuck ton of money in order to
Mm-hmm.
be able to really make an impact on the show. And it gets worse when you come for All Stars, because then everybody's like, well, now you've got money, girl. So like
Mm.
no more trash bags, like they and that's kind of shitty in a way in and of itself as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like, I have often, and I think we've talked about this before. That's been my one sort of flaw feeling with regards to Drag Race overall, like
mhm,
the seasons, not so much All Stars, but now the queens are pretty much having to take like loans and borrow money and whatever, just to get the looks together to get on to make them fashionable enough to be on the runways. And that's unfortunate, because it doesn't really jive with me. you know a I'll put it like this: a local hometown queen, small town queen, who sees the show,
mhm.
but is, we've heard the story. Like, I mean, Heidi is one of those perfect examples. Like, who's like doing like a mundane job and then doing drag like on the weekends or whatever to do it. They are not professional drag queens. They are not doing this for a living, for the, or at least they weren't. And I've seen that be a to a detriment in a sense. And I mean, Heidi, I keep saying Heidi is a perfect example because she was. Um,
Well, I mean, Aiden Zane, like,
yeah,
what she called herself a bedroom queen. She's like, I
yeah,
never really went anywhere and performed anywhere except in my own home,
yeah.
like in front of a camera, like in my own bedroom or whatever. And I agree with you. Like that has a definitive impact on
Hmm.
what your not only what your experience is and your
Yeah.
skills, but also what you can present. And I want to clarify, like, I don't think you and I are like saying anything to be, shitty about
Hmm.
this aspect.
No.
But to be fair, like if you're newer and you're just starting and you're
Hmm.
kind of on your own, like it really is all you. But notably,
Yeah.
Simone comes from the House of Avalon, and we get that
Hmm.
whole story in this episode, and it gets talked about in Untucked and all this stuff. And you just kind of, I think it definitively made a difference, because I don't know if Simone would have been able to deliver the Simone that we got this season without
Without,
the
yeah.
support system and
I,
and
I,
and the grouping and all that.
and I agree with that. And I think also with, you know, I'll, my best example about this competition will and always be Monique Hart. So what we heard from Monique was that she didn't bring like finished garments and looks to like get ready. She didn't have the time or the effort because she had to, if I'm remembering correctly, she essentially had to do it all on her own.
Hmm.
She's not in a big area where she could go like call a designer to have them make things or anything along those lines. So she kind of had to do it on her own. So she brought like fabrics. She brought a bunch of fabric, and she was going to make stuff every time to kind of put something together. And we saw how that kind of went.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, she talked very openly about it. But this is the thing that made Monique Hart so unique and so pleasing as a queen. And what Ruth saw in her is like, this bitch got hustle.
mm-hmm,
Like she will do what it takes, and she will not give up.
mm-hmm,
And I think that's really what we got out of her in her
yeah,
season. And I think that's why she still has lasting power, because,
mm-hmm,
she was the heart of the season, and,
yeah,
brown cow stunning girl. Like, I mean,
yeah,
she definitely was multi-talented, but like you're saying, coming from Kansas City, was not tuned in
mm-hmm,
to other things. Now, to be fair, like, and that is another critique that has happened often. Candy, and Rose come from New York. Candy moved to
mm-hmm,
LA. Gottmik is not, I think, originally from LA, moved to LA.
yeah,
Um, oh, she's listed as LA, but anyways, um, so yeah, it was just one of these things that you You know, like if you live in a major metropolitan area and you have access to fashion and to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, designers and all that stuff, it could really change your trajectory basically.
Yeah.
And we do see that in a way. So anyways, I just thought that you know, that she really brought something forward, and I was very pleased with it. I mean, were there some times where things could have been better? Sure, but
Mm-hmm.
she definitely, um, you know, like picked very specifically how to deliver messages and representation in that. So
Mm-hmm.
that being said, eye rolls. I don't know which will be worse out of the two of us, but you go first, Damon, and then I'll explain mine.
Okay, y'all. Um, so my eye rolls are, quite frankly, did we really need this episode? And I'm gonna talk about this. You know, you've noticed like we've not really had a spoiler alert going on this episode, and there's a reason for that. Um, no one landed in the bottom. No one was sent home. So we have a top four,
Mm-hmm.
which we had at the start of the episode
Mm-hmm.
before all of this went down.
Mm-hmm.
So, from a reality TV show perspective, and this kind of throws back to like the earlier episodes of the season, like nobody went home, everyone was safe, they're all making it. So, what was the point of this episode? And if you say like, oh, it was meant to show them off more, bitch, we've seen them.
I
Like we've seen a lot of them.
I don't disagree. I think the takeaway from this episode was meant to be one word: growth.
Mm,
I think the point of this episode was to show how everybody has changed over the course of the season. Rose was a bitch. She was a perfectionist. She learned to loosen up.
mhm,
Simone learned how to come into her own and was
mhm,
still being told, Simone is in you even when you're not Simone.
mhm,
Uh, Gottmik learned Gottmik can just be Gottmik. Like,
mhm,
and that she's funny, even though she had been given the message before joining Drag Race by her close circle, but you're not funny.
mm,
Like, you better hope there's not a comedy challenge.
mm.
And yet she
Fair.
did very well.
Uh-huh.
So, like, you know, everybody kind of got lessons out of this. And I will say that Candy, like, her story arc was so obvious.
Mm,
And
mhm,
I was glad that in Untucked she talked about the turning point for her when she had to go take a mental break and go away because she was so heated with Tamisha. And
mhm,
that was when she says she had the revelation. If you don't get your head right, girl, you're gonna go home. Like
mhm.
and it
One
and
way or the other.
right. And so that's fair. I think what we did not get enough of was redemption through the rest of the season that I am okay with her still being there for me.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
and that's fair. But like I said, in one of the things that I felt when the episode ended was like I didn't necessarily feel we needed to see all of this. And this is just me. This is
right.
just my opinion. This didn't feel. I get what you're talking about, and I'm glad we kind of have that. And I'm not knocking the episode overall, but for me, it didn't feel as needed. Um. Uh.
I
Yeah.
so let me ask you this. Prior to this episode, did you have a feeling as to who you thought would win? And if you
Yeah.
did that change at all from watching this episode?
Good question.
So I'll answer the the question as to why I'm asking it. Let you think about it. Going into this episode, I had one person I definitely did not want to win. I still feel that way. I have three others that I'm okay with winning. However, there is one who I really would like to win over the others,
Mm-hmm.
and that was because of this episode.
Okay.
So if they don't win, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to, try to burn World of Wonder to the ground or some shit. Like, I will be okay with any of the other three.
Yeah.
They all have, like, one of them would be bringing something that has not been ever presented before in a winner. One of them is incredibly polished and like a well put together package.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is kind of really the pinnacle of like all the queens over all the seasons, like pushing the bar and moving things further ahead than has ever been done before. And is obliterating the legacy of one of the original queens who has become highly problematic, and as far as I know, the fandom has basically abandoned and walked away from, because they're like, girl, you are so toxic and so problematic and have caused so many issues and grief and strife. Don't think that we didn't forget about you, but your decision to be the way you are and to cause all this online drama and the bullshit that happened with DragCon and all this, and then you decided you're not doing drag anymore, but you are doing drag, and you're not doing drag. Now you want to be known as only the boy and that you're a model. You do you, boo. You're on a journey. However, as a winner, you're not really doing a whole lot for this like whole bigger family and legacy and stuff. And so I feel like Simone is the queen that like makes us forget about all that.
Yeah.
Like, and really kind of like changes things in a way. So all that being said, this episode cemented for me personally, she's the one that I want to win. But I don't know whether or not she will. And if she doesn't, I'll be a little disappointed. But I'll be okay as long as it's Rosé or Gottmik, because like Rosé will definitively bring such a polished presentation. I mean, she's already at the level, as far as I'm concerned, of being a drag like entertainer star. It's just like super obvious to me. It's kind of weird because we get to the end of the season and there's a part of me that's like, why were you even on Drag Race? Oh, because you needed a platform because I didn't know who the fuck you were before. Like, no, and I'm not being shady about it. Like, I think that's the whole point of what Drag Race can do. I've known almost none of these queens. How many did we say? Let me go back and look at the doc.
13.
All 166 that we've gotten to this point. Like most of them I've never heard of. I didn't know who the hell Bianca Del Rio was. I didn't know who Trixie Mattel was. I didn't know who Jinx Monsoon was. Like, like a lot of them I've never heard of before, these queens. And so Rosé really has, I think, risen to the occasion and really delivered on things. And I think, Gottmik is definitively talented and creative and brings a whole like fresh perspective and look of things. Anyways.
So, in answer to your question, I will say kind of.
Okay.
So I had in my mind who I wanted to win. I knew what, like we all kind of, I think we can both agree, there's someone we don't necessarily think we want to win. After this episode, that hasn't changed. The one that I would want to win, it's more solid in me this season, I think, more than any, that I would be okay with any of the three.
Okay.
More so than in past seasons. I've almost always had like a favorite, and I've always had someone that I thought would take it and win, but it's not always been. Usually when we get to this point, or usually maybe even before this, I have my who I want to win, who I think will win.
Mm-hmm.
This season, and I will say even after this episode, I cannot definitively say that. If that makes sense. Like I cannot say I want to win
Right.
and I think will win. Like I cannot I right now in my head cannot really say that. And I think maybe a little before this episode, but I think more so after this episode, which is kind of what I'm getting at. I think that's true. That's still true, and that may be still the case. Um, there are I'll put it like this. I'll just throw three of them out because we don't like fuck Candy. Saying it like that, I don't want to be mean and shady, whatever. But I don't think she's gonna win.
Well, I mean, it has been said.
Candy has already fully lost and just been asked to stay.
So,
Yeah, that. So there's that.
in case y'all are new to this podcast and you've not seen or heard us talk about this before, that's where we stand on the issue.
Okay. Yes. So yeah. Like kind of what you were talking about. Rose to me has proven that she is multi-talented. She has all the goods to make a star.
Mm-hmm.
She is a star. She can sing, she can dance, she's comedic, but glamorous in a sense. She's not always perfect, and she's gotten a lot better in that. She's not the perfectionist that she once was, and that is her growth. And that's why I could see her winning and wanting her to win. Gottmik. Consistently been really amazing throughout this episode, throughout this season, shown growth, shown that she can do things that she didn't believe or thought she could do, and did them well.
And like did such an excellent job of as Cade educating via their journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
you know, just
and
yeah.
And I could see him as Cade being a spokesperson for the show and its journey into trans inclusiveness, because the show desperately needs a like it needs some of the bad blood, some of the issues. I don't want to say erased, but it needs it to be addressed and talked about. And I think Cade and Gottmik are a perfect example of someone who can make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Start those conversations if they're not already happening. Keep them going if they are, because the show needs to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Simone, while not consistently, oh my God, amazing, has been very true to her and herself. And I agree. I think the one thing I will admit out of this episode that was the turning point for me was her hearing and realizing, like in the confessionals and in things, like they were saying to her, like, Simone is always in you, but you don't have to just be Simone. Like that feeling, that need that Reggie needed more so than Simone.
Right.
And that showed me just how powerful Simone is, and the showing your culture and showing who you are and putting that out there and making these statements without the words, but also having the words to back it up. I could see that making her a winner, and I could see that making I would be okay. I could see that being a path that would work for the
Mhm.
show. So that's kind of where I'm at. Um, I don't think in my head that anything really would have changed after this episode. Maybe a little bit. I think Simone is really the main one for me that had that change. Um, the emotional like moment where when I don't, I've been there. I know that feeling, and I think um, in some ways, a lot of the queens, especially queens of color, feel that way. You've had that moment. You've had those feelings. You've had that negativity in your life in some way, shape, or form, and to have that emotional vulnerability on that stage was it. I almost lost it myself because it was I know that.
Right.
I know that feeling.
Well, and that's, I mean, I posted in our Telegram chat. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, how the hell did the judges not lose it? Like, with the queens
Mm-hmm.
talking to their younger selves, telling their stories, and like, what, 3 out of the
Yeah.
4? Like, having
Yeah.
an emotional breakthrough or breakdown, however you want to call it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
having some moments of openness and vulnerability. Because, girl, I was a sobbing mess, and I'm just sitting on a couch, like, watching and paying
Mm-hmm.
attention and listening to, like, their story and what they have to say. And
Yeah.
seeing the parallels in my own life, like some of the experiences, and saying, like, yes, like, that's why this show matters, as much as it may drive me fucking batty crazy from time to
Mm-hmm.
time, because I'm like, really?
Mm-hmm.
um and yet, like, it really, it profoundly has a message to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And and it is formulaic. I mean, we've seen this
Yeah.
before, and we've boohooed before, because queens are opening up about, like, their life experiences and telling themselves with clarity on where they are now,
Mm-hmm.
that if they could go back and deliver a message to a younger, like, version of themselves, you have a journey coming, buckle up.
Mm-hmm.
um so yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Woo. Woo. We went on a tangent.
That's
Woo.
all right.
Gary. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, Miss Chanel.
Okay.
I want to eliminate myself.
Oh, all right, all right. Yeah, so I'm giving eye rolls to myself, and I want to talk about this because it bothers me so much that
Mhm.
this happened when I watched the episode, and every time I see this one image, I
Mhm.
cannot separate this. My brain has fused together these two things, and it makes me really upset with myself that I keep seeing this and I can't disconnect them.
Unsee it. Okay. Okay.
So we're going to go back to the Getting Lucky music video.
Mhm.
Gottmik.
Okay.
So Gottmik's face, Gottmik's paint, is a white face with black features, black, like,
Mhm.
eyeliner, eyebrow, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm. Mhm.
All that being said, the moment Gottmik came on screen in the video, I immediately thought of a character from a movie that comes from a stage play, and it has to do with how Gottmik looked in the music video, and I could not now forever. No matter, and I'm talking about it, I guess, because I want to admit it, and at the same time, I don't think it's going to exercise my issue.
Mm.
So, as a person who has been a fan, a film coordinator, an event person, and has attended both live and movie production, like, events of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, every single time I see Gottmik in that blue corseted outfit, I see Frankenfurter.
Okay.
And it really irritated me, Damon, because I was like, that's not fair to Gottmik.
Mm-hmm.
Gottmik is not attempting to present a alien transvestite look. And yet, I keep thinking about towards the end of the film, and Tim Curry is painted in a corset with gloves, in heels, like, and it just really irritated me. And what I realized is, I think the reason that it came immediately to mind is because of Gottmik's paint, like her mug. And it really just kind of pisses me off. That's why I'm giving myself eye rolls, because
Mm-hmm.
like it wasn't anything I planned. It wasn't anything. And I've seen Gottmik in that face many a time. I've watched Gottmik's makeup videos on YouTube. And I finally narrowed it down. Like, immediately I was like, whoa. Immediately I was like, you kind of look like. And then I was like, what the, why am I even thinking about that? And the more I processed it over the weekend, I realized it's because of the outfit. It's because, to me, specifically, that film, that character is so iconic.
Yeah.
It just, like, came through, and it's highly, like, irritating to me. And it's the only thing about the episode that I really had eye rolls for, honestly, because I thought everything else about the show was rather decent. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Notwithstanding, yeah.
even Candy being in the episode, and I bitched earlier about the music video, like, and how that came through, and I really, like, that's why I had to put in that comment that I kind of think production did her dirty, because I think if it hadn't been for the color thing, I probably wouldn't have paid attention too much. I would have still had a critique that her lingerie outfit was not properly fitting her.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you that, like, you know, the tights nylon thing, like,
Yeah.
was not a good move. But again, we don't know if that was really her or if that was production or she borrowed those or whatever. And didn't obviously have some RIT dye available to destroy a bathtub in a hotel to, like, you know, make a match or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
So all that said, like, there wasn't anything really else about the show that bothered me or stood out, or I really felt I had to give some eye rolls to. So, and I didn't think like you did about how we ended up where we started.
Mm-hmm.
So why did we need the episode? Because we move forward with Four Queens.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I was really disappointed and bothered with myself that was one thing that came out of watching the whole thing, because I didn't get any other impression from anybody else. I didn't look at any other queen and be like, oh, I feel like I've seen this before, or like, you know, this represents something that I've already witnessed, or I don't know. So, you know, I'm just I'm not mad at my brain, I guess.
Yeah. And that's a fair assessment, and it's a good one to, like, know yourself and know that was a thing. And yeah, I think that's a good, I mean, sometimes we do have to check ourselves. Let's just, let's be honest, y'all. I have had, like, the thoughts that I've had regarding, like, Candy in particular, and I know, like, sometimes we get a little heated about it. But part of me also goes through this secondary, like, phase, and I'm gonna keep saying it, is this production? Kind of like what you've talked about in the past. Like, am I feeling the way I'm feeling because they want me to feel that way? Yeah, I'm sorry to get deep, a little deep. But that's kind of what I get sometimes. Candy has been, I'll own, like, Candy has been portrayed. I don't want to call her a villain. I hate saying that. I don't want to say that in this season, because I will say, I don't think there was a quote unquote villain.
Right.
But Candy has been given this edit of being bitchy and nasty and loud and obnoxious. And then we kind of get to these points where she softens up, and now she's very kind and observant, and she's not busting from the mouth like every 2 seconds kind of thing. So we've gotten this growth, as it were, for her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, that feels like the edit more so than anything else.
Mm.
You know, we can always say, we've said it before, like, you said what you said. We know Katie said it. We know Katie said some of the things she said. We know she had that moment in Untucked with Tamisha and all of that. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
But what we don't know is the resolutions and what was done and what was said after the cameras were turned off or whatever, when they were done and maybe having dinner, when the day after, when things were kind of calming down, what happened then. We didn't get to see that. We don't get to see any of that. This isn't like Big Brother where you're watching them 24/7 potentially. This is, here's what we filmed, here's what we got out of the edit, and this is what we're presenting to you.
Right.
Like, that's what we normally get. So sometimes we have to check ourselves. My personal feelings has been very topsy-turvy. I know I'm not the biggest fan, and I will own I'm not the biggest fan of Candy. I don't think she's going to win. Having said that, that would be the shit if she did. Like, I don't know how that would play out, but we have been essentially spoon-fed a story.
Mm-hmm.
And if the story repeats like it does with every other story that we've had in seasons past, kind of on similar lines, she's not going to win. Yeah.
Right.
So it would turn everything on its head if she happened to win. I don't think it's going to happen again, but I think that's more my personal feelings as well as what has happened in production than it is anything else.
Yeah. No, I was just puzzling and thinking over, like, if Candy won, how I would feel about that, like, and what the consequences of that outcome would be. I guess my immediate thought is, well, then them other three bitches are at an All Stars, like, for sure, guaranteed, mama. Like, there's no way they can't be at an All Stars unless they refuse to do it.
Yeah. Which, has happened.
So, yeah, I think that that there's potential for that. I mean, there's a 1 in 4 chance statistically of winning. But so that being said, before we wrap up and close real quick, so next week we get the reunion episode, and then we get the finale. In the reunion episode, presumably we're gonna revisit some of the drama from the season and some other things. So I fully expect that we will have the Tamisha Candy discussion. Tamisha notably carried herself very well, and I think has been like, baby, I have been up, down, and all around. Like, I've been doing this shit for the long ass time, and it's super obvious that she is one who feels like your behavior is indicative of your inner, like, soul. Like, and you've got shit you got to work through. You have, like, battles or whatever's going on, and they really don't have anything to do with me. Like, and I can hold my own. And that was kind of how I felt that whole circumstance came out. So I feel like most likely there will be a discussion, a conversation. I would not be surprised if Candy says, like, I have formally apologized to Tamisha. I will do it again in front of camera, like, and Tamisha would be like, we good. Like, I'm not bothered, not worried, so
I can see that totally being a thing.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of how my feeling on that piece of it goes. There will probably be some reference to Candy thirsting after Joey, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and you know, talking about some of the other stuff that happened through the course of the season, you know, and then we'll move on to the finale. I have a sneaky feeling that the finale is going to be like last year and it's going to be an at-home production.
Yeah.
I definitely don't get the impression that it's going to be at the studio at all,
Yeah.
of any kind, which is disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Because that I thought that was an I don't like I don't know how to say
Well,
it. I thought that was an easy out.
yeah.
And I don't
Right.
mean it that way. I just think it's a good it's an easy solution is really what I probably try to say
Yeah.
to like to present the finale or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean I did think it was interesting in this one that they made all four of them lip sync, and the twist, air quotes twist, was that they all did it once by themselves on stage, so they had to do it 4 times. Like, you know, all four of the last queens had to present it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
As Jinx and Trixie commented, they were living for Simone coming through with the Whitney Houston rag. Um,
Like I
I caught that,
so
but you know
like
what my
yeah.
thought was? I was thinking of Rue. I was thinking of Rue back when uh shit, her name went out of my head. Um, and I
Oh, Jasmine Masters.
when Jasmine Masters in the mini challenge, and Rue
Get
goes,
a loaf of bread.
"Where did you get a loaf of bread?"
You get a loaf of bread.
I was
Yes.
thinking that when she's on stage, and I was like, "Where did you get a towel,
Yes.
girl? Because that's
So
not part of your outfit." Like,
yes. So okay. So I'm gonna own this for like the first like 10 seconds or so. I thought like she brought like just like a big thing of like Kleenex, like a paper towel,
right, right,
like
right.
because she was crying. She had been crying, da 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 da, and like she just came back on stage with it because she had, like her mom was on screen and all that stuff, and she just had a moment, like a blubbery moment, and she was like, "Girl, I need to get this together." And then like, "Oh shit, we're coming on stage. Like here we go." Like so for 10 seconds, I'm just like, throw that away. Why do you have that in your hand? Like, like that, like they don't need to see that you have like your tissues. Like, mama, we don't need to see that. So, and then as it started going, I was realizing, oh no, bitch, that ain't no paper towel. That's a towel.
And
She
she is so artistically crafty.
mm-hmm.
She knew what that delivers message wise, like
Yeah.
to the authenticity of the
Mm-hmm.
performance of that particular artist. I was like, oh, you girl. Okay.
She knew what she was doing.
She did. She knew what she was
She's
doing.
intelligent. She's got that brain, y'all. She's got that brain.
Yes.
That was a choice.
A very intentional,
Oh, signal.
well
Intelligent
executed
choice.
one.
Intelligent choice. Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
So that's where things lie at. So I'll be curious to see where things come out. We have 2 more episodes, 2 more weeks, and then this is the end of the season. I'm starting to think that at the finale, they're going to announce All Stars, and because nothing has come out from the entertainment industry, I have a feeling it's not right away. Because by now, normally, I think we would already have
We would have had some promos.
right some rumblings,
something.
something, and we
And
don't have anything at the moment. So I'm wondering if they are gonna like move it out a little bit, because I believe they are going to record season 14, but it seems that they're following this pattern and that they're going to do it this coming fall, like August, I think is when they recorded last season. So I think they're going to repeat it again, because I think there was a call for cast submissions for season 14. And currently, I believe they are in Australia, like doing that one. So I'm like, okay, like we might actually get some breath between
Maybe a break.
the two. Yeah.
Y'all.
We'll see.
I gotta hope so. Like, I'm not gonna say this. God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Like, and especially if there's still this whole dispute about them showing it on um, Paramount Plus. Because that was the original thought, was that All Stars 6 would be on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Like, there's a part of me that is hope. Like, I will own I am hopeful that they will, like last All Stars, like indicate like, okay, we need to put it on like VH1. Let's do it. But if that's not the case, guess he'll probably be buying a season or maybe getting Paramount Plus. Like, there are a couple other things I've been thinking about that I would like to see on the platform. So I might, as I roll my eyes, get it.
Well, as producer Jeffrey had reminded me recently in a different episode on our regular series, you could just do it for a couple months and drop it. You don't have to make a commitment.
True.
I mean,
That is true.
I prefer to financially do an
Mhm.
annual subscription, and then I just don't have to think about it or worry about it.
Mhm.
So it ebbs and flows. I agree. Like, there are times that you may not necessarily want or use the service, but I guess I throw
Yeah.
that out there as a reminder. Like, you could do,
A month.
for
Yeah.
for 3 months, knock it out and be like, pause, cancel, whatever, and
Mhm.
and not continue on until you need to again.
Fair.
So we will
We
see,
shall see.
what happens, what comes next. So tell us what you think. There's lots of ways to get in touch with us. You can go to our website blog, cubsoutloud.com. You can send us an email, cubsoutloud@gmail.com. You could leave us a voicemail message. You can call us at 361-COL-TALK. That's 361-265-8255. On the social medias, you can just type in Cubs Out Loud as one word and pretty much find us anywhere. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, obviously. Social chat. Telegram is the platform that we use. You can go,
Speaking of which,
if you would like to join our chat, our little group over there, you can go to tiny URL, that's tinyurl.com/telegram. That's telegram-coldr. And that takes you straight to the group. If you haven't gotten it before, you can access Telegram via the web. You can download it as an app, and you can download it on a tablet or a laptop as an app. It's not just mobile specific to like a smartphone. So it has lots of different options, has some really great features built into it. It's one of the more secure programming systems that's out there. They're always rolling out new features. So we use it for the group for Cubs Out Loud, and we have a separate one for Cubs Out Loud Drag Race. And Damon's about to tell our group that they can start chatting about their thoughts of this episode now that we've recorded. Not that it's live or anything, but we try to put a 48-hour hold before people say anything. And if you want to know about the events that are going on for Cubs Out Loud, specifically the main series, we have a calendar, a Google Calendar. You can go to tinyurl.com/calendar, CALENDAR-COL, and see the upcoming episodes. And that's what we're actually recording live and it broadcast to YouTube for the full episode. So if you're interested and you want to kind of catch us live. Now that I have a newer computer and some updates and things, and an internet speed update, maybe the next COLDR season will be live. We might return to that for YouTube, and have some live interaction and stuff, because it was fun when we did it.
Yeah. Great.
Just have to see where that lies. If you would like to support Cubs Out Loud, there's a couple different ways you can do it. First of all, if you just want to give us a tip, like you just want to throw some money at us, just a buck or two, a Jackson, a Benjamin, like whatever, flips your fancy, you could go to paypal.me/Cubs Out Loud and make a one-time donation. If you would like to support us as an ongoing supporter, you can join Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cubs Out Loud for anywhere between $1, $5, or $10 a month, automatically deducted from your financial institution, charge card, whatever. It becomes available for us to be able to pay for things. Jeff's about to pay for another 2-year domain registry and hosting, which is hundreds of dollars. So It's been very helpful, and we very much appreciate our patrons. As a patron, even at the $1 a month level, you get access to the full episodes, regular season, and COLDR. So you get the pre-show, the post-show. You get to hear like the setup and the shenanigans and the things that we kind of reference in a show that don't make sense. And if you would like to be a supporter in terms of like what we have available merchandise wise, you could go to Zazzle.com, ZAZZLE.co/Cubs Out Loud, and you can pick up some merch. So there you go. So David's showing on his camera. He has a lovely, what's called the two-tone coffee mug. So it has our Cubs Out Loud Drag Race logo on the outside, which is our bear head with the pink words Drag Race and the crown. And the reason why it's called two-tone is because the handle and the inside of the coffee mug are a light, lovely pink color, but there are other colors for the mugs as well. And it says Cubs Out Loud on the backside with our what we call our banner logo, and our website URL, obviously cubsoutloud.com, that you can go to. So we not only have mugs, but we have other things. So like I'm wearing the hot pink version of the same shirt. I always do that wrong. I always like screw up the angle. But anyways, of the logo. And you can get a shirt. You can get all sorts of things. There's a purse as tribute to Bob the Drag Queen's Purse First. All sorts of stuff that you can pick from, and you can customize whatever those items are. So you can have some merch of yourself to help support us. You can also obviously help promote us via iTunes and other platforms. On iTunes specifically, if you rate us, we would prefer 5 stars and a nice comment to go with it. But you can also subscribe pretty much anywhere that you can find a podcast online. Cubs Out Loud Drag Race specifically, if you did not know, children, has its own feed. So if you only want the podcast episodes for the audio feed, you can do that. In terms of YouTube, we have one channel, but there is a playlist that is nothing but Cubs Out Loud Drag Race episodes. As we did feedback a week ago, somebody was in our archive and went like 2 seasons ago in season 11 and was like watching and listening and was commenting on stuff. So thank you, girl.
Thank you.
For chatting and that kind of stuff. And as the two hosts, if you want to get in touch with us, Damon, how would they do that for you?
If you wish to get in touch with me, you can find me as TheaterCub79 on most bear-related sites or on Facebook. Or you can find me as pup_umbra on Twitter. The Twitter is definitely not safe for work. It is a mix of my drag stuff and porn and porn and occasional drag race. But
yeah. If you would like to get in touch with me, you can pretty much find me anywhere online as Gamber73. When it comes to drag race or drag in general, I have a different Twitter profile I've created that's GARBEAR73DRAG. And I had to do that because way too many Venn diagram overlapping circles in my people that I follow online were spoiling the fuck out of things. Like, and because I normally don't see the episode live, I was like, okay, I just got to start blocking references to any queen, no matter who they are, because everybody's got an opinion. They all want to express things, and it was starting to really get on my nerve and spoil everything. Even this episode was spoiled because somebody commented online and said, and they didn't tag the queens, but they said my top 2 and my bottom 2. And I was like, well, she didn't go home.
there's that.
So I was like, all right, well, she's still around. And as it's been said before,
Candy has already fully lost and just been asked to stay.
you know, there's that.
Thank you, Trixie.
So with that, that's the end of another episode. We have 2 more to go. I would be very interested to see how the reunited episode comes up in the coming week. And then we end up with the finale. So that being said, thank you all for coming along on another journey with us for episode 14. Oh, girl.
Bye.